Well, good afternoon. Welcome to Hope for Today. Spring has at last sprung, or so it would seem. There's something so special, isn't there, about this time of year? The sight of the first daffodil peeping through the soil in February, and then, especially in Wales, all daffodils seem to know when it's the 1st of March. It always baffles me. They all bloom together just in time for St. David's Day. How do they know? I've no idea. It's a glorious sight, isn't it? Charles Dickens once said, "Spring is the time of year when it is summer in the sun and winter in the shade." It's a good description, isn't it? We feel we love to feel the first signs of spring, don't we? The warmth of the sun on our faces and the first sight of colour in the hedgerows and gardens. This is especially the case after this long, hard winter that we've just come through. It definitely felt so long because of the lockdown. And although the winter hasn't been that hard due to excessively cold nights or anything like that, it has been hard because of the limitations. It's been hard because of the restrictions, and of course, it's been hard because of the pandemic itself, causing so many people to be poorly and sadly for all those who've been bereaved. It was long, yeah, and it was hard. Maybe you've been affected by this long, hard winter. Maybe you've missed seeing family and friends and not being able to get out and about, even going to the bean bar for coffee with your friends and having a chat. It's been tough, and it has just added really to the feelings of loneliness and isolation. But today, spring has sprung. And immediately you smile as soon as I say it. You look out the window, and then hmm, you have that renowned sense of joy and happiness because, yeah, spring has sprung. Indeed, it brings a sense of hope. It's been said that spring represents love, joy, hope, and of course, growth. How wonderful it is today. Now, Pablo Neruda was a Chilean poet. He was actually a diplomat and a politician as well. He won the Nobel Prize for Literature in 1971, and he became known as a poet, would you believe, when he was just 13 years of age. He was a talent indeed. He wrote many love songs and poems, and of spring he said, "You can cut all the flowers, but you cannot keep spring from coming." And now that got me thinking, you can cut the flowers, but you can't keep spring from coming. How interesting. Indeed, it's somewhat poignant because to know about our friend Pablo is to know that he actually died in 1973 quite suddenly, and it's been speculated that his death was caused by a lethal injection by a doctor while he was staying in hospital. You see, he had some communistic thinkings and views, and at that time in Chile, it was greatly feared. Communism was really not the flavour of the day at all, and there was great fear. So, but he was right. No matter how you might prune the rose bushes, or cut the hedge, or trim the tree, you cannot keep spring from coming. The garden will indeed, it will bloom again. And after the flood, God made a promise to Noah and his family. He said, "As long as the earth endures, seed time and harvest, cold and heat, summer and winter, day and night will never cease." The sign of his covenant, well, of course, it's the rainbow. And that is something we see regularly during the frequent showers of the spring. So, the hope that we find in springtime is actually based on God's promise. His promise never to flood the world again. Interesting, isn't it? According to the promise, follows with it seed time and harvest is mentioned. And that's important. So, what we sow today, we will reap the harvest tomorrow. If you sow love, that's what you will reap. If you sow hatred, then sadly, hatred will be a harvest. It's very important to make sure that you sow good seed, and then all your tomorrows will produce a good harvest. The Bible also tells us, don't be deceived. God cannot be mocked. A man reaps what he sows. Make sure today that you sow good seed. Springtime reminds us that the seeds we sow, good or bad, they will grow, guaranteed.